The 2011 Amnesty International report, titled Stifling Dissent, faults Ugandan authorities on several illegitimate restrictions on the exercise of the rights to freedoms of expression and peaceful assembly in response to governance issues. It describes how journalists, opposition politicians and activists risk arbitrary arrest, intimidation, threats and politically motivated criminal charges for expressing views deemed critical of government.
Over 30 journalists are facing criminal charges of various kinds for expressing views in the media, print or electronic, that the government deems too critical. And then beyond that, these journalists have also bore the brand, or other journalists have bore the brand of physical beatings, harassment and the sort in the pre-election period, the election period, but more pertinently, since April and May, in attempts to cover the walk-to-work protests.
Beyond that, Amnesty International is also concerned about proposed laws and the ones on the statute books that will significantly and arbitrarily restrict the enjoyment of the right to free expression. On Tuesday, government tabled in Parliament the Public Order Management Bill 2011 aimed at regulating and guiding public meetings, gatherings and demonstrations.
Based on actually the rationale given by the police, there's a ban on public protests, especially of a political nature. We are saying that that is incompatible with Article 29 of the Ugandan Constitution. It seems to be saying that those organizing the protests about rising costs of living are not really genuine. They want to overthrow the government.
Citing examples of repression, the report highlights the recent arrest of 4 political activists, later charged in court with treason, a capital offense attracting the death sentence for their involvement in organizing protests. But government says the report is biased.
It is misplaced and extremely unfair to the NRM government, given the government's championing of human rights in this country, the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, and indeed the freedom of assembly.
The Media Center director argues that although walking to work is not illegal, the recent protests have a different agenda and are a threat to national security.
The walk to work protests organized by the Kizza Besiges and other political leaders are simply not ordinary. They are not walk to work as Ugandans would interpret them.
What the government needs to do is to come up with concrete evidence that it has concerns on national security. It can never hold for the government to brand anybody wanting to protest to be somebody wanting to overthrow the government.
Although government says the report is unfair, Amnesty International insists Ugandan authorities should comply with the obligations under international law to respect and protect the right of everyone in the country to exercise their rights to freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. Michael Baleke, NTV.